students, I hope everybody is doing good. So if you have not watched my videos earlier, kindly subscribe to my channel, and in today's discussion we will be learning about the looping statements in C. Before we begin with the actual discussion of looping statements in C, first let us study what exactly the meaning of loop is. Okay, I hope you have come across this word a number of times in your day-to-day life. Loop is nothing but which repeats again and again. We say closed loop, open loop. In your physics you might have studied. Now kindly try to relate that with the technical term over here that we are going to use in our C program. Loop basically stands for repetition, which repeats again and again until certain point of time. I need to have some start point, some end point. Suppose now I want to print hi 100 times. Now if I don't have any looping concept in C, what is the common approach that I follow? I will write printf statement 100 times. Printf hi, printf hi, printf hi 100 times. To avoid writing so many times in my code, I can make use of one concept that is available in C programming, that is looping statements in C. In C programming, we have got two types of loops. One is entry controlled loop, and another one is exit controlled loop. These are the two categories available in C programming. And before we study these two things, first let us study the components of a particular loop. Every loop will have something called a counter variable. Every loop you take will have counter variable which keeps track of the number of repetitions, and every time it is going to be of which type. When I am considering the whole number, definitely it is going to be integer data type. One counter variable you are going to maintain to keep track of the number of repetitions. Then it will have something called test condition. Is going to have something called test condition. Why test condition? I told you every loop should have starting point and ending point. Till what time I am supposed to repeat these things again and again? I told something called print hi message 100 times. So 101st time you should be stopping the display of that hi message. So I need to write certain test conditions to stop the repetition. So with the help of test condition I can achieve it. Next, I have something called updation of the counter variable. See, every time the repetition is happening, I need to update it. Either I need to increase the value of a counter variable or decrease the value of a counter variable based on the test condition that I am writing in my looping statement. And one more thing that you should be knowing about loop is you are going to write something called loop body or body of the loop. The statements which takes care of the things that I am going to repeat again and again in the program should be written within block of code called loop body or the body of the loop. These are the components of any loop that you consider in C programming. So students, now let us come back to this point. I told you something called two categories of loop. One is entry control loop and another one is exit control loop. How they have made these two categories? These two categories are made based on the location of the test condition that you are having in your loop. Suppose if you are writing the test condition before the body of the loop, then it becomes entry control loop. So I am repeating once again. If the test condition is written before the body of the loop, then it is referred as entry control loop. If you are writing the test condition after the body of the loop, then it becomes exit control loop. So these two loops are basically dependent on the placement of the test condition in the code. If it is written before the body of the loop, then it is entry. If it is written after the body of the loop, then it becomes exit control loop. Now let us study the types of loops that we are going to use in C programming. Basically there are two categories, entry and exit control, as I have told you, but there are three types available in C programming. First one is for loop, the next one is while loop, another loop that is there, that is do while loop. Everything to take up is for loop. Okay. For loop syntax. How I should be taking it? For loop syntax is something like this. I need to make use of a keyword called for, followed by parenthesis. Then I should be writing initialization of a counter variable. Initialization of a counter variable followed by semicolon. Then write the test condition. Then write the updation of a counter variable followed by a semicolon. Then updation of a counter variable. Then open the curly brace. Write whatever you want to repeat. That is nothing but body of the loop. Then complete this. And this particular for loop should be included within me. This is about for syntax. Then we will be studying while. Next, syntax for while loop. It is also a keyword. While is also a keyword and it should be written in lowercase letter. Syntax goes something like this. I need to write while first, then followed by parenthesis, then write the test condition, then complete this parenthesis, then open the curly brace. Whatever you want to repeat, that should be included within body of the loop. Then complete this curly brace. So this particular while loop should be written within main function. Main is always the starting point of your program execution. Then we will be studying about do while. So what is the generic syntax for do while loop? So the next thing is do while, written in lowercase. Do is also a keyword, while is also a keyword. The syntax goes something like this. This is little bit exception. First you should be writing do, open the curly brace over here, then write the body of the loop. Body of the loop. Then complete this. It should be in line with this. In front of this write while keyword, then open the parenthesis, then write the test condition, complete the parenthesis, then put semicolon. Students, this is very important point that you should be noting. For any other loops that we have considered so far, that is for and while, I did not put any semicolon in front of it, but do while is little bit exception where I am putting a semicolon at the end of each loop. This is one exception that you need to remember. First you need to write do, open the curly brace, write the body of the loop, close it, while should be used, then write the test condition, complete that parenthesis, put semicolon. That is about do while syntax. In the next session, we will be discussing about the usage of these loops in the next session. Thank you. Yes students, now we will look into the usage of these loops in C programming. For that I have considered certain famous problem statements. So how I can make use of these looping statements within C program. The first problem statement, kindly note, write a C program to compute factorial of a given number. So in your school you have already studied the factorial concept. What is factorial? Suppose if I ask you 5 factorial, then how you will find out 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, and 0 factorial is 1, so it is going to be 1 again. So what is the thing that I will be getting now? 5 2 are 20, 60, 120 is the 5 factorial. Suppose if I ask you 6 factorial, then how you will compute? 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is going to be just it is 5 factorial. For that you are just multiplying with 6, that is 720, so on. See, to solve this or to write this code, you need to have the knowledge about how I can compute the factorial of a given number. And why I am using the looping concept, that is most important that you should be thinking now. Since what is repeating? It is the multiplication operation is repeated again and again by decrementing the value. First 5 will be considered, then I decrease the value by 1, again I decrease the value by 1, so on, up to what point? Up to the value becomes 0. Once it becomes 0, I am stopping it. That is the test condition that you should be including within the loop. So for this, I am making use of while loop. So let me write the code for this particular problem statement. As I have already discussed, you should be always starting with the documentation section, that is program to compute factorial of a given number should be factorial of given number. Number I am going to take it from the user. Factorial of a given number. Then write the author who is writing it, followed by date of creation. These three statements should be must in the documentation section. It will improve the readability of your code. This constitute documentation section, followed by the next section, that is hash include, give a space, then stdio.h, stdio.h, then include me. Okay. To solve this particular program, I require only one input variable, one output variable of integer data type. Int n is input variable, and factorial where I am going to store its value, that is factorial. Next is, since I am updating the n value, I am considering one more variable called temp. Okay, where I am storing n, original value of n. Next statement is asking the user to enter n value, whose factorial you want to compute. Enter n value. After that, scanf. So students, please practice syntax for scanf and printf. Otherwise, it is very hard to write the complete code. %d, double quote complete, comma, ampersand. I am reading n value, so and n I am writing. Complete this. Now comes the processing step. Now I should be making use of while. So while is a keyword. As long as n value is not equal to 0, what I am doing? I am going to compute. Initial value of the factorial, I can take it as 1. Okay. Initial value of factorial can be taken as 1. I will be including it over here only. Factorial is equal to 1, comma 10. Okay. After this, before I write this n not equal to 0, okay, let me consider temp. I am storing the value that is read for n to be stored in temp. So first write the keyword while, followed by parenthesis. Okay. Now write the test condition. So as I have already told you, when I was computing the 5 factorial, 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 up to n value is 1, it's okay, I am repeating the multiplication. Once n value becomes 0, I am stopping the process of multiplication. So the test condition is going to be, as long as n value is not equal to 0, this is not equal to 0, open the curly brace to write the body of the loop. What is that I am doing? Factorial is equal to factorial star. Factorial star. What is that? N value. And after that, I need to decrement the value of n. As we have already seen, 5 becomes 4, 4 becomes 3, 3, 2, 1, so on. So n minus minus. Decrement the value of n by 1 and put a semicolon and complete this. Once I am done with this, I need to display its value to the user. So the format is going to be like this. Factorial of 5 is 120. Factorial of 6 is 720. Factorial of 3 is 6. So on. So please focus. What is constant? Factorial of word is constant. So I will be writing printf. Factorial of 5. So let me replace that 5 with the format specified. %d is constant and factorial of 5 is 120. Again number is appearing. So replace that 120 with %d. Then I want the next statement to be appearing in the next line slash and put double quotes complete. Now how many format specifiers you have used in the printf? So many variable names should be mentioned. Now as you can see here, I am updating the n value. So that is the reason I took temporary variable to retain the original value of n that is being read earlier. So I will make use of temp. Factorial of 5 is 120. So first variable is for value is for temp variable, and obviously the end result will be stored in a variable called factorial. So let me refer to it. Factorial. So complete this, put a semicolon, enter the main function. Okay, now let us trace this program for a specific input. Suppose here, consider this, I am going to trace out the code. How many variables are there? 3 variables are there. Okay, in the initial section of our code, we have taken int of type integer. N is one type variable, temp is another variable, and we have something called factorial. once I write this code and I take it for the execution. Enter n value, that message will be displayed out on the screen, and the user is going to take up the, or he is going to read the value for n. Suppose n value entered is 5. Okay, suppose n value entered is 5. Assume like that. So temp is equal to n. What is stored in n? 5. So I am assigning the value of temp to something called temp. Coming on to the next statement. While what is stored in n? 5. 5 is not equal to 0. Yes, it is true. It gets inside the body of the loop. What is happening? Factorial is equal to factorial star n. Factorial value is 1. What is n value? 1 into 5. It is 5. That should be assigned for factorial. It is now 5. Next, n minus minus. N value should be decremented by 1. It is 4. Next, how it executes? It goes back to the test condition. Is 4 not equal to 0? Definitely it is not equal to 0. It enters into the body of the loop. Now factorial value is 5. Please check out over there. And n value is 4. 5 4s are 20. That becomes your factorial value. Next, what is there? N minus minus. N value will be now 3. N value will be now 3. Again it goes back and checks the test condition. 3 is not equal to 0. Definitely it gets inside the body of the loop. Now factorial value is 20. And n value is 3. 20 into 3 is 60. That becomes your new value of factorial. And decrease the value of n by 1, that is 2. Is 2 not equal to 0? Definitely it is not equal to 0. And what is stored in factorial? 60. And n value is 2. 60 into 2 is 120. 60 into 2 is 120. Decrease the value of n by 1, that is 1. Is 1 not equal to 0? It is not equal to 0. It gets inside the loop. What is factorial value? 120. What is n value? It is 1. 120 into 1 is 120 only. It will be again overwritten with the same value 120. Decrement the value of n by 1, that is 0. Now come over to the test condition. Is 0 not equal to 0? It is equal to 0. So the test condition fails over here. It comes to whatever follows after writing the while loop body. Okay. So that is factorial of %d. That is, it is corresponding to temp value. What is stored in temp? 5. That is the reason I retained the origin value of n in temp variable. So what gets printed now? Factorial of 5. Replace %d with the value of temp. Is %d. %d is for factorial. What is stored in factorial? 120. So the final output that I am going to get is factorial of 5 is 120. Students, make a note of one more thing. So I was telling you about something called entry control loop and exit control loop based on the test condition that you are writing. And this is the body of the loop. Everybody knows it. Now I am writing the test condition before the body of the loop. That's why while is example for entry control loop. So students, so far we have discussed about the syntax of various loops used in C programming as well as the categories of loops available in C programming, and also we have gone through one sample code where I have explained while loop, that is computation of factorial of a given number. In the next video I will be explaining about for loop as well as while loop. Thank you so much.